You've started to wonder if the hidden years are wasted years. The long quiet stretch where nothing visible is happening. The decade where it feels like everyone else is moving and you're still preparing for something that hasn't arrived. The work that nobody asked you to do and nobody is watching you do. The years that don't make it onto a resume. You've started to wonder if you missed something. Or if maybe whatever you were supposed to become already passed you by. Ancient truth for the modern week. From the dusty roads of the first century to the high-speed life of the 21st, we're stripping away the tradition to find the heart of the story. I'm your host Joe, and this is Monday to Sunday. This Thursday, the church remembers a man who spent his entire life, from infancy through adulthood, in exactly that kind of season. His name was John. Tuesday I told you we'd meet a man who lived the whole fire in the bones passage from the day he was born. This is him. Luke ends his nativity story with one sentence that, if you sit with it, will rearrange how you think about your own life. He says this: "The child grew and became strong in spirit, and he was in the wilderness until the day he appeared publicly to Israel." Read that slowly. The wilderness, not the temple, not the academy, not the inner circle around any prominent rabbi. The wilderness. And not for a season. Until the day he appeared, which means every formative thing about John the Baptist happened, where nobody was watching. The prophet Isaiah saw this man coming 600 years before he was born. And the way Isaiah described him is one of the most tender passages in the entire Old Testament. Listen, comfort, O comfort my people. Ah, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. A voice cries out, "In the wilderness prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill be made low." A voice in the wilderness. The reason that voice could speak with the authority it had, the reason it could tell a whole nation, "Prepare the way," is that the voice had been formed by the wilderness. The wilderness didn't reduce John. The wilderness made him. And here's the part I don't want you to miss. Right in the middle of Isaiah's prophecy about John, right there in the same passage, God says this: "He will feed his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms, and carry them in his bosom, and gently lead the mother sheep." The God who would form a prophet in the wilderness is the God who gathers lambs in his arms. He's not training you by abandonment. He's training you by carry. The years that feel hidden are not the years he has stopped paying attention. They are the years he has his hand on you. And your eyes haven't adjusted to seeing him yet. And only after we hear that, only after we hear the shepherd part, are we ready to hear the harder thing about what John's life was actually for. Because here is what's striking about John. When he finally did appear, when he came out of the wilderness and started preaching at the Jordan, his entire message was this: "One is coming after me, and I am not worthy to untie the thong of the sandals on his feet." Paul tells the synagogue at Antioch this exact line. John knew his job. He was the forerunner. He was the voice. He was not the one. Think about that for a second. John had spent his entire life, every hidden year, every wilderness night, every meal of locusts and wild honey, preparing for a public ministry that would last maybe 18 months. And the entire point of that ministry was to point at someone else. And Jesus called him the greatest prophet ever born of a woman. The hidden years weren't preparing John to be famous. They were preparing John to be faithful in the role he was given. And that role was supporting, not starring. There is something in the American imagination that struggles with this. We have absorbed the idea that meaning equals visibility. That if nobody is watching, the thing isn't real. That if you aren't the main character, you're a side character, and side characters don't matter. John would disagree. Zechariah, John's father, would disagree even louder. Did you catch what Luke does with Zechariah in this passage? The man has been mute for 9 months. The neighbors are coming for the baby's circumcision, and they want to name the child Zechariah after his father. Elizabeth says, no, he is to be called John. They turn to Zechariah, who can't speak. He asks for a tablet and writes 4 words. His name is John. And the moment he writes those 4 words, the moment he agrees with God about who his son is, his mouth opens. His tongue is loosed. He prophesies, the Benedictus. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he has looked favorably on his people and redeemed them. What loosed Zechariah's tongue wasn't a religious experience. It was the moment he agreed with God about who his son was. That moment unlocks the rest of Zechariah's life. So what do we do with this on a Thursday? I think the assignment is this. Whatever hidden season you're in, whatever long, quiet stretch where the work feels invisible and the formation feels slow, I want you to agree with God about what He is doing. Not in your circumstances, in you. You don't have to know what you're preparing for. John didn't know what he was preparing for, not exactly. He knew there was someone coming. He didn't know it would be his cousin. You don't have to see the public ministry on the other side of the wilderness years. You just have to trust that the wilderness is not abandonment, that God shepherds, that He gathers lambs, that the formation is real, even when the outcome is invisible. The hidden years are not wasted years. They are the years prophets are made. The lectionary turns the page next week. We'll meet again Monday for the start of a new arc. Until then, whatever wilderness you're in this week, He has not stopped feeding His flock like a shepherd. He has not stopped gathering lambs in His arms. And He has not for 1 second forgotten what He is making of you. Thanks for being here. I'm Joe, and this has been Monday to Sunday. Thanks for walking this road with me. Now take this truth into your week, and I'll see you on the next chapter.